because we all have natural body energy. You know, when you go into a pub or a bar, and sometimes you see somebody, you think, not going near that person. You don't know what it is, but you just know there's something not right about that person. It's not the way they're dressed or anything. You just get a vibe. Women would call it women's instinct, but men, it's like sometimes you have that instinct in a nightclub, yeah? And then later on in the night, they'll end up being the trouble causer, and you end up saying to the person next to you, look, I told you so. We have that vibe, and you can practice that. Now, there's no thing, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Native American Indians, but there's a thing called shamanism, and it's about energy points in the body. We all kind of have them. And one of them is located right where your, yes, gentlemen, get ready for this, right where your, no, where your belly buttons is, okay? This is what they call the base chakra energy point. Were you happy that these are all being mixed along the way? So it really doesn't matter if I take one of these at random, we won't know basically whose it is. Okay, what I'd like you to do, because essentially speaking, your belly button is your life force. It's where you know, when you're born, they cut the umbilical cord, and it tells me and people a lot about you if, well, just the way you uncover them. So, could you uncover your belly buttons, please? Indeed. Now, the level of eagerness, or lack of eagerness in doing that, immediately gives us an idea about people. Now, some people have got sort of very much what I call a flat belly button. It's neither an innie or an outie, which means that tends to indicate an individual who's very much down to earth, calls a spade a spade. I wouldn't say... doesn't tend to snap like that, is very considered. When they do snap, ends up really going off the handle, but can restrain themselves a lot more than the average person, can see all sides to a situation. Does that make sense to you? And that's because you're on the level. Now you've got a bit more of an innie belly button, which sort of goes inwards a bit. Now that means you're actually, despite what you give out, this is about who you really are, so obviously you could lie here, but that gives me the impression that you're kind of actually more of an introverted person. You put a good impression onto people of being very confident, but truly inside you're actually quite very much the kind of person you like to keep yourself to yourself. Would that be fair and accurate? Oh, we're getting a vibe here. This is good. This is good. If you can have a little look at your belly button. Now we've got a slightly innie, but it's also kind of going from left to right. Okay, left to right, like on an even. I call it like a platform. You're going along. So it's one of those. I think you're one of those people who once you've come up with an idea, you really focus on it, and you just keep plodding forward towards it. And it doesn't matter about obstacles or you know, walls in the way or people trying to put you off. You become so bloody focused on that some people might even say it's pig-headed, but for you it's determination and focus. Does that make sense to you? If you're being honest about it? Fantastic, that gives me a vibe about you. Fantastic. Looking at your belly. Oh, this is very interesting. It's sort of an innie, but also it kind of, it's very deep. It's very deep. To me, I would say that kind of indicates a very deep thinker. Someone who doesn't outwardly look like they're worrying, but actually contemplates things a heck of a lot. Thinks about them a lot, then overthinks them, and then starts worrying about the fact that they're worrying and gets caught in a sort of loop, and that becomes almost a little bit like procrastination because you're tied up in that worry cycle. Would that sound accurate and fair to yourself? It would. And finally, well, we've also almost very nearly an even playing field, but it sort of goes semicircular, up, then over, which would kind of indicate to me somebody who comes up with great ideas will start to put them into action and things are happening really well, but then gets distracted and goes to the next great idea. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, fantastic.